and welcome to Adoption Pop. We're a podcast journalist,
a filmmaker,
and a cultural critic bursts pop culture's favorite adoption tropes. The holiday season is once again upon us. Kristal, are you a Christmas person? Do you go out all out with decorations and that kind of stuff?
Am I a Christmas person? The answer to that is absolutely yes. I not only have about 8 bins worth of Christmas decoration in my home, I've got about 15 at our warehouse. And I usually have a Christmas tree in almost every single room. I change my curtains. Like, I will change all my bedding to Christmas bedding. It is a thing here. And it's what my kids really look forward to. Like, when they hear that I'm going to start decorating, they love that.
That has gone in an extreme direction that I did not anticipate.
Nor did I.
Well, you may have Christmas bedspreads in every room, Kristal, but I'm going to guess you don't actually know Santa.
I don't know Santa, although...
Okay. Oh, there's more.
Wait, what?
Oh, okay, there's more. Okay, go ahead.
Although he has come to our home a few times on Christmas Eve, and Santa fell off the roof one year, came in, tracked snow everywhere. He was a little drunk. I was not impressed.
Okay. Well,
wow.
The subject of today's film also does actually know Santa. Elf premiered in theaters on November 7th, 2003, and became an instant holiday classic, grossing $228.9 million against a budget of $33 million. The movie stars Saturday Night Live alum Will Ferrell as Buddy the Elf, a human raised by Santa's elves, and upon learning he is in fact adopted, no wonder he's 6 feet tall, departs the North Pole for New York City in search of his biological father, played by James Caan. Zooey Deschanel, Mary Steenburgen, Ed Asner, and Bob Newhart all appear in supporting roles. The film is number 26 on Rotten Tomatoes' list of 100 best Christmas movies of all time. It was, according to screenwriter David Barenbaum, inspired by another holiday classic, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. What if instead of being a reindeer with a red nose as a misfit, he was a 6'3" guy who was adopted and didn't know it, living in the North Pole, and he was a misfit, said Barenbaum. So that was sort of the beginning. Rudolph mixed with a healthy dose of the Tom Hanks movie Big. Since its successful release, Elf has gone on to become a video game in 2004, a Broadway show in 2010, and a stop-motion animated musical television special in 2014. Haley, how many times have you seen Elf?
I can't count. I've seen it so many times, but I remember just being obsessed with it when it first came out, watched it every single year. And that was really before I had deep dived what adoption meant in my life. And so I see it through quite a different lens. And in fact, of course, watching it to prepare for today, I was like, whoa, I have my glasses all the way on now. So, yeah.
So let's dive in then. Take us away, Haley? What do you want to talk about?
How about this? We get the definition of a late discovery adoptee. Someone who discovers they're adopted well after everyone else in their life knew they were adopted, which hopefully doesn't happen as much as it used to, but that totally was standard practice back in the day.
Yeah, I think for me, the other adoptee terminology that jumped out is a TRA. Buddy the Elf is a TRA. So TRA stands for transracial adoptee, meaning someone who's adopted who's a different race or ethnicity than their adoptive parents. And, Buddy's a human and his adopted dad is an elf. So I did have the realization that oh my gosh, Buddy's a TRA. And maybe even a TNA also, right? A transnational adoptee, someone who's adopted from a different country. Because I think the North Pole is a different country, for purposes of this film, is a different country than New York City, I think.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah.
So one of the things I noticed right away in this watch was the movie opens with Bob Newhart, who plays Buddy's adoptive father, Papa Elf, like sitting down and like he's going to tell us the story as an audience. And I thought, oh, we're going to hear Buddy's story through his adoptive dad.
Yes.
I wrote that down too. I was like, of course we're going to see it from the lens of the adoptive father. However, when Papa Elf introduces himself, he doesn't say adoptive father. He says adopted father. And I was like, what?
That drives me nuts. That's a personal pet peeve of mine. Haley knows this. We need to find someone who's like a linguistics expert, of which I am not a linguistics expert. I don't think any of us is a linguistics expert, right?
No.
No, not me.
But because
Kristal, that's not one of your special skills.
I can barely think of words to talk on a podcast at times. So
Kristal has a lot of gifts. We all have a lot of gifts, and linguistics expert is not one of ours. But
Nope.
I hear that a lot in the adoptee community online, and say adoptees will refer to their parents as my adopted parents, or their siblings as my adopted brother, my adopted sister. And that drives me nuts because I think in my non-linguistic expert way of describing it, I think adopted is an act. Like if you adopt something, you are acting upon it. And as the adoptee, for me to say my adopted parents, it sounds like I have enacted the adoption upon my parents. And that's not the case at all for adoptees. Like the adoption is enacted upon us. And
Right.
so I think the right term is adoptive.
I
And I
agree.
think that's a linguistic thing more than just I prefer to say it this way or that way.
Yeah, like your parents aren't adopted. Unless your
Right.
parents are adopted, then you say my adopted mom.
Yes. Which happened, which is a thing.
Very, very much so, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, but at the end, does Buddy tell his own story? Or is it still through the lens of Papa Elf in the book?
He writes his own book, which then his biological father has control over publishing. And
Because the Nepo Baby Project.
Yeah.
It's like a Nepo Baby Project.
And so, yes, is it Papa Elf reading us from Buddy's words or not? That is a good question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, can we talk about right away? We're at the North Pole. Buddy has not discovered yet that he's adopted. Literally everyone knows he's adopted. And perhaps we should talk about the circumstances to which he became adopted.
Yes.
Let's do that first before we go to what I was going to say. So Santa's out delivering his presents. Of course, he has to stop in at the orphanage, and Buddy is placed in a crib with a bottle. Kristal, tell me, when you were raising babies, were you allowed to put a bottle in a crib with your baby?
No, I never did that.
No. That was like in the parenting classes. You don't do that.
Yeah.
So
No.
bad job.
They could
none.
choke.
Right. Exactly. And it's very bad for their teeth. Anyway, I'm not really that impressed with the orphanage care. Just saying. So Buddy, who somehow can get out of his crib on his own, crawls into Santa's sack, makes his way back to the North Pole, comes out of the sack, and then I just live here now.
Well, it was far. I mean, it's far away. How is he going to get back? Right? Because Santa can't just bring him back the next day.
Why not?
I think that goes against the rules of Christmas.
I mean, he could have brought Buddy back the next Christmas, as a Christmas gift, but
Back to the orphanage?
because he only works on the one night, right?
Right,
So
that's
he
my
had
point.
to wait.
That's why he couldn't bring him back the next day.
Yeah.
Okay. So plus a year. He could
Yeah.
have gone back in the next year later.
Conceivably.
He could have done that.
Conceivably. Wait, or he could have, I was going to say he could have just dropped him off at another house the next year.
Okay, we are not caring about Buddy enough
We're
now.
digressing. We're digressing. No, but can we talk about his name in the orphanage? Buddy the Elf. Buddy the Elf is named after his diaper. Did you get that?
The diaper brand.
The diaper brand.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's named Buddy after the diaper brand.
Because the other elves think that's his name because it's on his underwear. Diaper.
Are you saying they actually thought that was his name?
Yes.
Or they were too lazy to think of a name and they just called it, well, let's just call him the diaper name.
No, they thought it's like Back to the Future.
I was just going to say.
Marty McFly's mom calls him Calvin, and she's like, it's on your underwear. Calvin Klein. Isn't that your name? It's on your underwear. It's the same thing.
Okay. Okay. I thought it was lazy. But
No, what's lazy is not returning a child to whilst they came from.
From whence they came.
Whence they came. Whilst.
I mean,
Whilst.
Santa returned,
Not a linguistics.
wasn't it still Christmas? Like, it was still Christmas when he came back. He could have gone back, in my opinion.
No, Santa's busy all night long. Christmas is a busy day.
Yeah, he can add 10 minutes at the end of his day.
And he didn't know he was there. He didn't know that Buddy
Right.
was there until Buddy was out. And Buddy was little, right? Buddy was small.
Yeah.
Okay, but I have something to say. The reason why most people won't care about this is because Buddy is already in an orphanage. He's already been abandoned. Nobody really cares about that kid anyway because he's already in the orphanage. He's an orphan. Maybe the only people that care about him are the nuns, and they're perplexed as to where he's gone. But, the way it's set up is that we don't think about that. We just think, oh, he's got a home now.
For Papa Elf, who just never got around to finding someone to love and make a family with.
Exactly.
So he just get a single parented at 400 years old.
He was old.
Very wise.
He was old.
He's wise. I don't know how wise it is to adopt a baby when you're 400 years old and you're on your own.
So, Haley, you were going to talk about now, like, everybody knows that Buddy. So, Buddy's now here, and everybody knows Buddy's adopted, except for Buddy.
Right. And he is clearly the outlier. I mean, it's basically like Papa Elf says, oh, he's not really different. And then proceeds, we just see this montage of all the ways Buddy is radically different from all of his peers. Like, he's too big. He doesn't fit in the desks. He has the right answers because that's the culture he's been raised in, but he can't keep up. He can't keep up with the speed. And everyone is like trying to make up for him and his lack of efficiency, lack of elfness, and no one can tell him.
Why do you think they didn't tell him?
Why do any adoptive parent not tell their child?
Yeah, no, that's the question, right? Like, there's one line I wrote down, and I can't recall who said it. It was an elf. An elf said it. If he hasn't figured out he's human by now, I don't think he ever will. Which is a little bit of felt patronizing to me. Like, he's so dumb.
Well, again,
he
you're
doesn't
putting
know. He'll never know.
Yeah, and you're putting the onus back on the adopted person. Like, we're giving you all these clues about all the ways you don't fit in. And yeah, you're just so stupid. You're just never going to figure it out. I guess you deserve to not know.
It's like the extreme version of gaslighting, right? Like, but I don't even know if he really understands that he's any different. And that's what I think is so endearing in some ways about him, is that he really has no clue until the moment when he's told that he was adopted. And then his life just like starts flashing before his eyes, all these things, and it all starts to make sense. Who here can relate to that? And it might not be that we weren't told we were adopted, but it might be that moment where we realize how adoption has impacted us.
Well, I'm going to push back slightly because I do believe he someone inherently knows he's different, and he has a shame, especially when he's making the toys. And like, again, he can't meet the quota. And literally he sees his peers who are making the same thing make hundreds more than him. And he must be feeling like, oh my God, what is wrong with me? Like, that I cannot keep up with this.
I agree. Like, I think that he has a sense that it's something, but I don't think that he has put his finger on it yet.
No.
Right?
Yeah, I don't think he has the language for it.
No. There was a quote that I don't know if it was the elf or Papa Elf, that said, "You're just special. You're just special.
You're just special."
Have you guys been told that?
Yes.
Same.
Yes, I was a special baby. How
Special
do you feel
means. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, but how do you feel about that? And Haley's making faces, by the way. You and I are talking, and Haley's making. Haley's eyes are rolling hard into the back of her head.
Yeah.
It's because I've heard that so many times. Special, it goes right hand in hand with chosen.
To me, special means different.
And not good different. Good different or bad different?
I don't know. I don't think it necessarily matters, but it does mean different. And who wants to be different?
There's one more thing for me that was really resonant about this idea that, like, everybody knows but Buddy. Why doesn't Buddy know? I think, Kristal, you may have used the word endearing before. And Buddy is extremely lovable and kind and, easy to root for through the entire movie. And it's because he's childlike through the entire movie. And even I was reading some from the writer and director Jon Favreau talking about putting this movie together, and Jon Favreau talks about looking at his son, who I think was 8 at the time, to look for clues of, like, to sort of model Buddy after, like, how does an 8-year-old act. And I really feel like part of the reason it works so well in this movie is, yes, Will Ferrell is a brilliant actor, but aside from that is because I think subconsciously there is this willingness to see adoptees as perpetual children and this perpetual infantilization. The man is 30 years old and 6'3", and he acts like a small child through the entire movie. And it works because I think subconsciously people, we don't know any elves in real life, and so we're willing to accept sort of whatever elf is in front of us. But I think there's also this willingness to accept an adoptee as a perpetual child.
How many times have you seen a family friend for the first time in a little while? You've grown up, and now they go right back and start talking about the first time they ever met you and how you were adopted into the family. And that is the one memory that connects them to you. It's like, I'm a grown woman now. Like, I'm grown. I'm not a baby anymore.
Yeah.
I'm still adopted, but they have this mental block to even, like, see you in a different way.
Or I think about how many times, all 3 of us have creative projects and creative endeavors. The number of times I get asked, well, what do your adoptive parents think? I'm like, I don't know, I'm 48. So, how many adults, how many middle-aged people do you ask what their parents think of a thing? Is wild to me.
Yeah.
I just got this really great review at my job, and I'm getting a raise. Oh, what do your adoptive parents, or what do your parents think?
What do your parents think?
I don't know. I didn't call them to tell them. Like,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's in even the term adopted children, right? Like, that's the term everybody knows, like adopted kids, adopted children, adopted adults. and times I've heard, whether it's myself or other creators use that term, people get really confused and they picture someone who's like 25 who gets adopted. It's like, no. Like, adopted kids, and then we grow up and then we're adults and we're still adopted, but like we're adults now.
Okay, so one of the things that we often do if you're an adopted person and you're curious is you might imagine what your biological parents are like. So Buddy finds out he's adopted, and then Papa Elf finally tells him about his biological parents, the things he knew all along. That he was in an orphanage, that his mother, Susan Wells, died, and his father, Walter Hobbs, never knew about him. So you're telling me that Santa and Papa Elf knew who the very much alive father was, and all these years didn't tell him he had a kid out there?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I love the part where Buddy goes and he's talking to the snowman outside, and it's right before he leaves to go to New York City, and the snowman says, "It's a golden opportunity to find out who you really are."
Your real father. Who
Yeah.
Your real father is.
Leon the snowman also says to him, "At least you have a daddy," because poor Leon just got rolled up.
Did either of you have a vision of like who a biological parent was? Like, did you have a biological parent fantasy?
The only way I pictured my birth mom in my head was always from the back. Ooh. And she had long, dark brown straight hair. Okay. Never pictured her face. Couldn't picture her face, but always from the back. There's something probably very psychological to that.
Perhaps.
I don't think I pictured their faces. I definitely wondered who they were and mostly thought about my mother. And then when I did find my mother, like finding my dad was like not on my radar because I pictured like, sorry Dad if you're listening, but I pictured, the deadbeat kind of situation, like, oh, he left her and there's no interest in parenting a child. Like, I didn't think very well of him. And ultimately when I found him, like, he's an amazing dad and we have a great relationship, and it's been, 14 plus years now. And so it was so different from what I pictured in my mind. And that was as a young adult. I was in my early 20s when I had that.
I thought my dad was Slash from Guns N' Roses. Because we had the same skin tone, we have the same hair, and growing up really in racial isolation in rural New England, I had never seen anyone who looked like me or who had hair like me. Like, the hair was a really big thing. And even on TV, I mean, there wasn't that much representation on TV anyway, but, even the models for representation, like, I didn't look like Bill Cosby didn't look like he could be my dad. And this is, Cosby era show Bill Cosby, when like people wanted Bill Cosby to be their dad, right?
Yeah.
He didn't look like he could be my dad, but Slash looked like he could be my dad. And so in my head, I tried to figure out some sort of way that would have happened, which, to be really clear, so I don't get us in trouble with some, lawyers out there or what have you, Slash is not my dad. He's not my dad. I've had DNA tests done. Slash is not my dad.
How do you feel about that? Disappointed?
That's hard. So my paternal family is wonderful and amazing, and I love them very much. And so they wouldn't be my family if Slash was my dad. However, I think it would have been cool if it was with my dad, because I feel like I would have better stories overall, just like better life stories overall. So
I think this is a
Totally.
good place to point out that, Sullivan, you live in New York City, and so we are going to hear sirens in the background. And so Buddy gets to New York City, where there are sirens in the background, and he
And I
goes to
didn't even
find his
notice them.
dad. Well, Kristal and I did.
I did.
Right, Kristal? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, listeners, it's okay.
Buddy returns to New York City. Buddy returns to his home country of New York City. He's back where now everyone looks like him,
Yeah.
and yet he also does not fit in either.
I really connected with that piece, was that, you know, he didn't fit in the North Pole because of his size and, you know, for obvious reasons. But then he goes to New York City and he's amongst humans, but he still doesn't really fit in. I relate to that big time.
Yeah, I did too, for sure. And he has this line, there's this one line, because of course he goes back to New York, and because he is dressed as an elf, and it is the holiday season in New York City, he finds his way to Gimbel's department store, the large multi-story department store, which has a huge Christmas display because Santa is going to come for the kids. And when he makes his way there, and he's having conversations with the other humans dressed as elves who are working the holiday season, at one point he says, "It was nice to find someone who shares my affinity for elf culture."
Yeah.
And that line actually really echoed of this idea of elf culture, because for many of us, we were raised, again, in cultural isolation, or raised apart from the cultures that we would have been raised in had we not been adopted. And so, like, that was one line, but it hit me really deeply when he was like, "Oh, I appreciate elf culture," because it goes to that question, like, well, what is he culturally? Is he an elf or is he a human?
Shall we talk about his going into Walter Hobbs' office? His dad, his real dad.
Yes, his real dad.
And he's in full costume, and the secretary believes him to be a singing telegram. What would you sing to your biological mother or father if you showed up on their doorstep? Kristal?
Haven't seen you in a long time. Do you recognize me at this size? I don't know. I'd be singing jazz, apparently. I don't know.
I want to know from fellow adoptees who did a doorstep knock knock on their parents if anyone sang. I don't see it. I don't know.
Well, when I did meet my first mother for the first time, we went out to a karaoke bar. We did all sing.
What did you sing?
I sang Shania Twain.
What song? Like, what was the first
Probably, like, Whose Bed Have Your Boots Been Under? My adoptive mom, like, loved it when I sang Shania Twain, and she was there, everyone was there, and that's what I sang. And I was 17.
I absolutely can identify with this idea of being a performance for whoever you're in front of, and especially a biological parent who has disconnected from you in infancy or childhood, whatever your story might be, for whatever reason. And oh my gosh, like, I better put my best foot forward so I don't get rejected again.
It was interesting too, because like my adoptive mom, she couldn't sing a note to save her life. Like, she had just like, I was embarrassed in church sitting beside her singing the songs because her voice was so bad. Sorry, Mom. But my first mom, she got up and sang as well, and she could sing.
Well, in that scene, which is a seminal scene in the movie, it's not just the singing and the performance. It's like you have all these people in the office looking on, also, which I don't know if you had that experience as well. Like there's also a voyeurism to it. Like there's us, like adoptees feeling as though we need to perform. But then there's also like this voyeuristic quality that people, again, like they want to look on, they want to hear your story, but they don't want to hear it from a place of like genuine like understanding. They want a spectacle. They want a spectacle of it.
They want reunion porn.
They want any kind of adoption porn, I feel like. They want spectacle. They want crying, sobbing tears because you love each other, and then they want the rejection also because like that's fun to watch too.
Okay, what I really thought was interesting was Buddy's expectation of his father, that they were going to hold hands and they were going to go ice skating and they were going to eat candy and that
Sugar plums.
Sugar plums, and that he just already loved his dad so much.
Yes.
And did Buddy's dad feel the same way about him?
Well, he didn't believe him, even though Buddy tells him in the song, I was adopted, but you didn't know I was born. It's me, your son. Susan Wells had me. I love you. I love you. And all Walter Hobbs thinks is, this person is mentally unstable. What the?
And he wants his money. There was a line in there somewhere where he was like, he wants my money.
Yeah. Which, again, like I mean, this movie is a comedy and it's a family film and it's heartfelt. But part of the reason that it works is because I think it touches on what people really believe about adoptees coming back, that somebody's just gonna like, poof, here I am, guess what? And maybe they want money, or like all these sort of things that I think do like touch a chord in people as being true, or what they perceive to be true about adopted people. We're a little unstable also. Even if we mean well.
Yeah, I think our brains are always looking for something that confirms our beliefs, right? And so when people sit down to watch a film and the filmmakers continually confirm what society's beliefs of adoption are, it makes it an easy watch for people, for the general population.
Can we talk about Walter Hobbs's family, his wife and son, and that relationship? I don't know. What did you both think? I thought it was one of the things I enjoyed the most in this film, watching it for this time around, was Buddy and his brother, and that relationship I thought was really heartwarming, because as welcoming as Walter Hobbs's wife is, Mary Steenburgen, I can't remember her character's name in the movie. Emily.
It's Emily, and then the son is Michael.
Okay. As welcoming as Emily is, from moment one, I feel like it's really Michael that helps Buddy. That he doesn't do it at first. He also thinks Buddy's a little wacko, but ultimately welcomes Buddy in as his brother after Buddy proves his worth in the snowball fight.
Yeah.
Which, as an aside, the snowball fight is a little bit nature versus nurture, right? Because he's exceptionally fast at making snowballs for this snowball fight. So that's why Michael is so impressed, right? And he throws them really fast, and like he just like kills it in the snowball fight. But like, way to go, Buddy. And it made me wonder, oh my God, if an elf was actually doing that, would like they actually kill people with their snowballs? Like, how fast can they throw them? How many would they make? Because we've already talked about Buddy is not up to the same level as elves. So anyway, so Michael's super impressed. Let's go back to the actual the relationship between Michael and Buddy.
I think the only elf that would actually kill someone with a snowball fight is an elf from the South Pole. You're both looking at me like, huh?
Oh, because because the elf from the South Pole are like the bad elves or the mean elves.
I just made an internal reference to this scene with Peter Dinklage, which I also want to talk about because I think it's a fantastic episode in the film. But Buddy does say after Peter Dinklage beats him up, "You must be from the South Pole."
Okay.
See, it's funny, right? I made
Yes,
funny
it's
now
so
that you get
funny, and now that it's been explained to me, I can appreciate the full joke, and I
How?
can't believe I didn't pick up on it.
Thank you for acknowledging my joke, because it was a good joke.
I think for Michael, he really gets to see Buddy as a big brother in that snowball fight moment. Like, he's protecting him, and so that's like the bond. And then they go to Gimbals, where like Michael, how old is he here? Like, I don't know,
He's
12. He's maybe
12,
my
maybe.
kid's age,
Yeah.
12 or 13. And he's giving Buddy like tips on how to ask a girl out, which, give me a break. I don't think Michael's even talked to girls yet. So anyway, pretty smooth.
He's
Of course he has.
he's a stellar wingman.
He is
for
a stellar
Buddy.
We started
yes.
young in Manhattan.
Okay. Oh, well, maybe. Okay. So there's a cultural difference I didn't understand. Okay. Should we talk about South Pole elves then?
Let's talk about South Pole elves. So there is this storyline where Walter Hobbs, Buddy's father, is a publisher, and he works in children's publishing. And business is not good. There's issue with the boss. The boss wants a story. The writers aren't writing. All this sort of thing. And so Walter Hobbs is trying to very quickly put a, best-selling children's story together. And so they call in the best children's writer, the hottest children's writer out there, someone named Miles Finch. And Miles Finch arrives, and it is the most amazing actor, Peter Dinklage, who I think we recognize now, but certainly 20 years ago. I mean, I think this was like his second movie or something like that. So I think at the time he was in the movie, like nobody really knew. Largely, he was not yet Peter Dinklage of Tyrion Lannister fame and other fame. But Miles Finch shows up, and Peter Dinklage has a form of dwarfism. And so as Miles Finch, then, the character, is a dwarf, and he's at the table, and Buddy comes in very jubilant from having gone on a date, and he's busting in on this business meeting, "Dad, Dad, Dad, Dad," and he sees Miles Finch, and he says, "I didn't know you had elves working here." And there proceeds to be, for about 2.5 minutes, a quite funny back and forth between Miles Finch, who's saying, essentially, "Hey, look, asshole, who are you calling an elf?" And Buddy, of course, being totally innocent and trying to connect with this human by calling him an elf. Number one, I thought this was such a fascinating scene that maybe could have gone in a different direction, that I actually would have liked to see it go in a different direction, because it's played for laughs, right? Like, we get it. It's funny. Miles Finch then proceeds to get so angry that Buddy won't stop calling him an elf that he beats him up, which leads us to the hilarious line, "He must be an elf from the South Pole," which I just thought was really funny. But where, again, it's this cultural question. Like, Buddy is trying to connect with someone who he perceives to be of the same cultural background that he is, because that's who he was raised with. And this person is saying, like, you and I are not only are you and I not the same, but like, I fully reject you, and you think you're connecting with me, you're insulting me. Stop it. What did you think about this scene?
I didn't think that at all. I didn't get that, but as you're saying it to me, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes so much sense. In my own personal experience, I felt it the opposite way. Right? Like, where I've tried to connect with people of the same background as me, and they're kind of like, yeah, so what? Like, we're both Indigenous, like, yeah, so what kind of thing. But I don't think that they understood that I was so desperate for that connection, you know? So that's a really good observation, Sullivan. I didn't see that.
Well, I did a little bit more research on this piece, again, in part because I'm a huge Peter Dinklage fan, and I had thought that I remembered him talking about, as an actor, which roles he would take and which roles he wouldn't take. And I found this interview with him, and he's actually talking about his role as Tyrion Lannister. Tyrion Lannister is a character he played in the Game of Thrones series for many years, won many awards, and Tyrion Lannister is also written as a dwarf as well. And so he's talking to these people about playing a character that is a dwarf also. And Peter Dinklage said, when clinically what you are has been poached by the fantasy world as a term for someone who's not human, it becomes, now I'm paraphrasing, it strips you of your humanity. And like, he's like, you become a fantasy thing instead of a real thing. Dwarves are human. Elves are not. Dragons are not. Fairies are not. Like, all these things where he talked about, you know, as an actor with dwarfism that he gets sort of wrapped into. And like, that really resonated with me, because I feel like it's similar for adoptees. And in fact, in this interview, he goes on to say, when he says they, he's talking about, you know, producers, movie makers. They do that with not just people my size. He's like, they do that with other people as well. And I thought about, I'm like, yes, they do that with adoptees. Like, we're a character trope. We're not real. Like, we don't really exist. And so we have this in the movie Elf. It's truly a fantasy person character, but like in so many films and TV shows, like, we're fantasy characters. Like, we're not actual real things that exist in the world.
Great observations. Shall we talk a little bit more about the reunion with Walter and Buddy? Now, my children find very, very funny now the gift that Walter receives from Buddy, which is sexy lingerie. And when they were really little and watched that movie, I don't think they got it. Anyway, for a very special person, this is what Buddy chooses as his gift for Walter. And this just piles on this vision that Walter has of Buddy, is like, this person is unwell. And so ultimately they do go and do a DNA test with Dr. Jon Favreau. This is his cameo in the film. And he's told, yes, Buddy's your son. And do you guys have thoughts on, you know, that moment? It's like, it's real. And Walter really has to come to terms with, this is my son.
And the doctor sort of walks Walter through it. Like, this is what he may need. Mm-hmm. I thought that was really tender.
Yeah, I agree. It's a compassionate moment, and I think it's pretty accurate what Dr. Jon Favreau says to Walter.
More so than Walter thinking that Buddy is unwell, I saw that he felt like Buddy was just a nuisance. Mm-hmm. You know, he was a nuisance by his mere existence. He came into the home and he's trying to do all these wonderful things by just being himself. You know, he builds a rocking horse out of his entertainment unit and dismantles the whole thing. And he decorates the whole house in Christmas. And it's just a complete and utter nuisance to his dad. Another piece that kind of stood out to me, I was curious as to what you two thought, was when Buddy is asking to be tucked in by his dad. Can you just tuck me in? I promise I'll go to sleep. And so the dad's like, okay, I just want him to go away and be quiet. So he goes and tucks him in. And then Buddy says, I love you. And his dad says, okay. And I thought, I wonder if they cast a mother in that scene. A mother would never just say, okay. I don't know.
I felt like that scene and really the whole relationship played into a stereotypical gender dynamic as well. I mean, it's not simply that Walter Hobbs didn't know Buddy existed. It's that Walter Hobbs treats I was about to say his own son. They're both his own son. See how it gets in there? Michael, he treats Michael the same way. That there is not a close relationship between Walter and Michael throughout. Walter works all the time. And so from that standpoint, I really felt like this is who they're showing us, that Walter Hobbs is just kind of an absentee father across the board.
It's interesting to see how Michael's perception of his dad is. He's like, he's my dad's an asshole, basically. He's never around. But Buddy's like, our dad's the best. And even within Reunion, how I have perceived my first parents versus how my sibling has perceived our first parent, it's been very different over the years, because the experience is just so different. Even as you parent your children, they say that the reason why your kids have different experiences growing up is because it's a different version of you that's parenting that child. So I might have been a lot more stressed when I had my first than I was when I had my second, and life might have looked a lot different by the time I had my third. And so I know their experiences with me have all been different.
It's interesting. I'm reflecting, Kristal, on what you're talking about and the fact that Buddy keeps at it. Right? I mean, when Walter is like, I'm not interested, I guess Buddy could have gone back, through the candy cane forest and where, all that long trek backwards and gone back to the North Pole then. And he doesn't. He sticks around. He sticks it out and continues to work on it.
What do you think about that?
I think he wants that connection. I think the biological connection is so strong that he's gonna stick it out. He's gonna stay.
What do you think about his almost his intentional denial of the fact that he's like, I mean, compare it with maybe an adoptee who's gone into Reunion, like he is just oblivious that his dad doesn't like him, right? Or that his dad's irritated by him for a long time until sort of everything comes to a head and his dad is very unkind and says something he doesn't necessarily mean.
I identify with this so much because as someone whose mother chose to end our connection like 4 months into Reunion, like I think about her. I hope that she would call me. Like I love her. Like I absolutely feel that same push to chase, which I think is, for me, is just innate.
I can see you tearing up a little.
I know. This is supposed to be the fun show.
I know.
Just so everybody knows. No crying.
So the fun show is, Buddy saves Christmas. In the end, we didn't talk about spoilers, but given that this is a 20-year-old movie, I feel safe that we're just gonna, if you've never seen Elf, we're gonna tell you all the things, and then you should go watch it, and then you should go watch it for sure.
Yeah.
Buddy saves Christmas because Santa, it's Christmas Eve, Santa's got the sleigh, and he breaks down in Central Park, which is a bummer. And Buddy, along with Michael, are going to help Santa save Christmas. And what is required to save Christmas and get the sleigh back off the ground is a true belief in the Christmas spirit and belief in Christmas cheer. And I have to tell you, this whole sequence, not so much getting the sleigh off the ground because I felt like, okay, let's go. But
Yeah, same.
The sleigh sort of working its way off the ground, clipping the trees up, down, like was so much fun to watch, and I found so satisfying. I had forgotten about it, but I was like, it's like the, sort of like the high speed chase kind of scene in the movie. And I thought it was so much fun to watch. It made me, I smiled. I found myself smiling while it was happening.
I wanted to know from a New Yorker, would the New York or the Central Park Rangers, do you believe they should be on the naughty list, Sullivan?
I'm so glad you brought that up. I forgot about that, the Central Park Rangers, which are, it's essentially NYPD. Like, there's no NYPD in the movie, but the Central Park. So first of all, the NYPD patrols Central Park. Like it's one of the precincts. There's a Central Park precinct. And in this movie, though, that rather than NYPD, they're the Central Park Rangers. They're on horseback. They are every bit of like violent, horrible police, as in like pick your film out there, which I loved and I thought but it was done in this very like cheeky sort of way. It was sort of like if you know kind of thing. Like it felt a little police bashy to me, and I mean that in a way that I really appreciated, not in a bad way. So yeah, like the Central Park Rangers are for sure on the naughty list. Like there's no question that they are bad. Like they're bad, right? They really are. Other than Walter Hobbs himself, I would say the only other villain, and he's not really a villain so much. He's like, you've got to like melt his heart of ice at the end. I think the only villain in this movie are the Central Park Rangers. I'm here for it.
Oh, well, I have a different thought, but I can't tell you until our awards. Mm-hmm.
I just want to really quickly go back. Buddy says 2 different times, I don't belong here. I don't belong anywhere. And then he says again, I don't belong anywhere. It made me feel so sad for him because he really felt that way. And he just felt like he was completely alone in the world. And, I just felt so bad for him. I related to him.
I did too.
Me too. I think that's why we haven't really talked about Jovi, but his love interest.
Yes.
That's why at the end, like, that's so extra satisfying when he finds his person, and she can be into elf stuff too, and she's a little quirky too and appreciates these things about him. And he really, it seems like, wonderfully integrates both his human side and his Hobbs side with Papa Elf, and like we have this very happy ending, and he has his own child and his own biological connection, and it's like it is this dream happy ending with a bow for me.
Can I ask Kristal, as someone who has been to New York City as the holidays approach, I thought of you when Buddy and Jovi go to see the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree, because you also have a story about seeing the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree.
Yes. So I saw that a friend of mine who lives in New York had posted that the Christmas tree had arrived. It had been cut down, it had been transported, it had arrived. And we were at your at the bar after your book launch at the pub, and I was like, you guys, the tree is here. Can we go? Can we go, please? And I think it was like 11 or 11:30 at night. Like, it was late.
Yeah.
And so Haley and our friend Chris Williams, we get in a Uber and we go down there, and I'm just like, I knew it wasn't going to be decorated, but I just wanted to see it. I just wanted to see it. And we get there, and it's got scaffolding all around it. It was the most anticlimactic Christmas tree reveal I'd ever seen, but the saving grace was that it smelled so good. You could smell it. Because it had been, I guess, kind of dragged through the streets, and you could smell it. So I will go to New York City one of these days, and I will see that tree in the reel, and it will be one of my greatest joys in life. I just know it. I just know it.
The only hint that that was a tree was the very tip of it
Yeah,
sticking
it's
out.
true.
Scaffolding.
I mean, for all I know, somebody could have just sprayed some pine, scent around there,
Yeah. Someone had
I
some
love
candles
that you took
going.
photos, though. I love that you took photos.
I did.
I appreciated the photo of it.
It was a good memory. It was a good memory.
The other little New York memory I have that's connected to Elf is being in the elevator when people are trying to get it to stop at every floor. So we have the opposite, where Buddy's in the elevator. He presses all the buttons because he looks pretty and he's with one other person. But Kristal and I were shoved in an elevator beyond the maximum capacity of persons, Oz printed on the safety sticker that I was staring at the whole time. And it stopped at every floor, and people wanted to get on. This is in our hotel. People wanted to get on, and we're like, we're full. And then we would go down to the next floor. We're full. And then we go down. It was so annoying. And all I could picture was like, oh my God, that poor man. He had to stop at every fucking floor in that elevator.
After Buddy got off.
Yeah. He had the rest of the way. I don't know,
That's
50 more
fine.
floors to go. Jeez. All right, friends. Do we have any more to say on this movie?
I do have one more thing to say. Great location for the film, New York City, because it is magical at that time of year. But it wasn't actually filmed in New York City.
What?
It wasn't?
I don't think so. I think it was filmed in Vancouver. Oh. Haley, can you do a quick Google on that? I'm almost positive because I remember watching it years ago and being like, oh, I recognize that. And because it's cheaper to film.
Well, yeah, there's a lot that's filmed in Canada.
I asked Google, and it said Elf was primarily filmed in Vancouver and also in New York.
Okay.
So most of the interior scenes were shot at sound stages in Vancouver, but some of the real life New York locations used exterior.
Saying is they were not Central Park Rangers. They were Mounties.
Oh, no, I don't think that's what I'm saying. No, not at all.
That's funny.
All right.
Okay.
My first, I'm only allowed to give one award out, okay? But this is an honorable mention we're going to start with. Okay. The honorable mention for the barely competent cameo is going to Dr. Jon Favreau. So this award it's because he's a bystander. He's not actually a member of the adoption constellation, but he does have a basic understanding of adoption. The things that he tells Walter, factually accurate. Buddy's your son. He's confirming that for him. We talked earlier, he's got this compassionate tone. He says he's probably reverting to a state of childlike dependency. And truly, that sometimes happens to us in reunion. for folks that are like, what is he talking about? We see Buddy have those moments where, like, this is a little bit hard to parse out. Like, what's elf culture and what is this reversion to being childlike? Like the tuck me in, can we hold hands, that clinginess, all of those things. I think that's pretty accurate. So way to go, Dr. Jon Favreau, for those moments. I thought that was pretty competent. I'm so pleased to present the first ever Georgia Tan Memorial Award. Are you new to Georgia Tan? Perhaps some of you might be new to Georgia Tan. She was a real life villain. And you can read more about her in The Baby Thief, or there's an episode of Criminal called Baby Snatcher. It's episode 110. And Georgia Tan stole and sold infants to the wealthy, powerful, and famous. And she's credited with glamorizing and popularizing the modern day adoption industry. And so, who might receive this award from me? Well, the first ever Georgia Tan Memorial Award is going to Santa Claus.
Oh.
Okay. Let me outline my reasons for you. And I am reading a little bit because I have extensive notes to back up this award. Okay. He is complicit in child trafficking. Okay. He, a magical, all-knowing being, he writes the naughty or nice list. He declines to tell Walter Hobbs that he has a baby, perhaps in fear that Walter or his family might claim Buddy and parent them, which family preservation, that would be great. Love it if Buddy could grow up with some genetic relatives. Santa does not return to the orphanage to tell them Buddy is safe. Now, we had some debate about whether or not that was possible, but okay, add 1 year, he could still do that. There's no formal home study process for Papa Elf. Santa just gives Buddy to Papa Elf. Santa keeps this secret. And even to the point where Buddy already knows his elf. Santa knows he's off. He's met his dad. Santa's in a crisis where his sleigh doesn't work because of this lack of Christmas spirit. And Santa continues to gaslight Buddy because he's in trouble and he needs some help, right? So Santa says, I need an elf's help. You're more of an elf than anyone I've ever met, and the only one I'd want working on my sleigh tonight. And Buddy says, really? And Santa's like, really? So Santa gets the award. What do you think about that?
That was really well done, Haley Radke.
Great. Thank you.
Really well
Thank
done.
you.
Really well done.
Any debates? You agree? Like,
I mean, you can't argue with that.
It's hard.
Bad
It's hard
Santa.
to argue. It's hard to argue
okay.
with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. And so I think only the last thing to do in this episode is to acknowledge that the best way to spread Christmas cheer is singing loud for all to hear. Kristal.
I love you. I love you. I love you.
Well, with that said, now that we all know Santa Claus is also a villain in this movie, Adoption Pop is podcast journalist Haley Radke,
Filmmaker Kristal Parke,
And cultural critic Sullivan Summer. In researching this episode, we relied on Patrick Cremona's Elf screenwriter on its lasting legacy. It's something that's rare and special for RadioTimes.com. Mia Elkin's Elf, Meet the Man Behind the Movie in The Marionite. Neil Miller's 40 Things We Learned from Jon Favreau's Elf commentary in Film School Rejects. Rotten Tomatoes' 100 Best Christmas Movies of All Time, and Flagrant Clips on YouTube.
If you like what we do, drop us a rating in your podcast app. Find and follow us on Instagram and TikTok, and let us know what you want us to cover in future episodes.
Join us next week for another episode of Adoption Pop. It will make your heart grow 3 sizes.